is approaching fast. Don't blink. Welcome to the Auto Brief News, broadcasting live from our studio in Switzerland. I'm Amber Light, your resident telemetry obsessive and digital architect.
And I'm Jim Kana. Keep the shiny side up, mate. I'm the analog soul sitting across from the motherboard, trying to figure out how we went from smelling like 10W40 motor oil to smelling like bamboo and eucalyptus.
It's Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. Welcome to The Studio, our dedicated space for analyzing the electric revolution's latest gambit. And today, Jim, we are looking at the absolute apex of the electric food chain. A car that doesn't just transport you, it isolates you in a pressurized capsule of bespoke tranquility. From Goodwood, West Sussex, the Rolls-Royce Spectre Series II.
Right. The Spectre. A car that costs more than the converted barn I live in and weighs roughly the same. I read your blog piece on the autobrief.news this week, Amber. You called it The Electric Throne and waxed lyrical about the architecture of calm.
I did, because there is a specific kind of silence that only exists in the top tier of automotive luxury. It's not just the absence of noise, it's an active, engineered quiet. When they launched the Spectre in 2022, it was a massive leap. With the Series II, they aren't just iterating, they are flexing their muscles. Let's look at the underlying telemetry. They've recalibrated the drivetrain. The standard Spectre now pushes 442 kilowatts of power, but the real headline is the battery cell re-engineering.
Here we go. Hit me with the spreadsheet data.
They unlocked up to an 18% increase in range. That's 390 miles or 628 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. In high voltage architecture, finding an 18% efficiency gain just a few years into a model's life is a monumental engineering feat, and they've reduced charging times by 14%.
I'll admit, the numbers are impressive. But here is the grand irony of the Rolls-Royce Spectre, Amber. For the last 10 years, I've been complaining bitterly about the death of the V12 engine. I've moaned about how electric motors lack a pulse, how they lack a soul. But Rolls-Royce is the one brand on Earth where internal combustion was always an inconvenience.
Exactly.
Sir Henry Royce didn't want you to hear explosions under the bonnet. He called his cars ghosts, phantoms, wraiths, things that move silently in the night. The V12 was just the smoothest way they could achieve that silence in the 20th century. So when you replace it with an electric motor that makes zero noise and delivers instant, seamless torque, it's not ruining a Rolls-Royce. It's actually the purest expression of what a Rolls-Royce is supposed to be.
I am recording this moment. Jim Kana just advocated for an electric powertrain.
Don't twist my words. I said it works for them. I don't want a silent Porsche 911, but a Rolls-Royce? Absolutely. Give me the electric locomotive. Speaking of locomotives, let's talk about the Black Badge Spectre Series II.
The Mark's alter ego. It is now officially the most powerful Rolls-Royce ever created.
Yes, and here is where I roll my eyes into the back of my head. It delivers 500 kilowatts of power, which is roughly 670 horsepower. That's brilliant. But they had to name the driving modes like a teenager's video game. You get 500 kilowatts through Infinity Mode, and if you want the full 1,100 Newton meters of torque, you have to engage Spirited Mode.
It's evocative branding, Jim.
It's marketing fluff. Just call it maximum thrust and be done with it. 1,100 Newton meters is enough rotational force to alter the orbit of a small moon. You don't call that spirited, you call it violent.
Before Jim fully derails into a rant about naming conventions, we need to acknowledge the technical partners who keep our own microphones powered.
This transmission is fueled by our technical partners at mynotespace.com. When you are managing the telemetry of a multi-million-pound garage, you don't trust your maintenance records to a cloud server that might disappear tomorrow. MyNotespace provides period-correct, heavily bound analog logbooks. Put pen to paper, because whether you're logging the tire pressures on a track day or the charge cycles on your new Spectre, if it isn't written down in ink, it never happened. Keep your history tactile at mynotespace.com.
All right, let's bring the Spectre Series II out of the wind tunnel and into the atelier. Because this car isn't really about the electric motors. It's about being a canvas for bespoke commissions. Demand for bespoke on the Spectre is surpassed only by the Phantom.
And the lengths they are going to for Series 2 are frankly absurd. I'm looking at the press notes here, Amber. Let's talk about duality twill.
It's a magnificent piece of material innovation. It's a contemporary interior rayon fabric made entirely from bamboo. It was inspired by the bamboo grove in Le Jardin des Méditerranées on the Côte d'Azur, near Sir Henry Royce's former winter home.
Right, lovely story. But listen to the math of this upholstery. The twill textile is embroidered with an artistic duality graphic, an abstract of the two R initials. To put this interior into a Spectre Series II, it requires up to 2.6 million individual stitches. It uses 10 miles of thread. 10 miles. And it takes 25 hours to construct just the fabric elements. That isn't manufacturing, Amber. That is Savile Row tailoring scaled up to a 3-ton motor car.
It's the definition of the elegant solution taken to its absolute luxurious extreme. I appreciate it because it's data-driven perfection. And if bamboo isn't to your liking, they've introduced placed perforation leather.
Which is exactly what it sounds like. Someone with too much time on their hands punching holes in a cow.
It's not just punching holes, it's precision cut. They designed a pattern inspired by the shifting silhouettes of clouds in the moonlight. Across the shoulder and headrest areas, they use exactly 78,138 perforations in 3 precise sizes: 0.8, 1.0, and 1.2 millimeters. And if you extend it to the doors, the perforations subtly disperse as they approach the internal light sources to create an atmospheric diffusion effect.
I have to admit, the level of obsession is staggering. I hate touchscreens. I hate sterile plastic interiors that look like a smartphone. Rolls-Royce has basically ignored the digital screen trend and focused entirely on tactile materials. They have a new veneer called brindled walnut. They take wood from non-fruiting walnut trees that would normally be burned, combine it with residual eucalyptus fibers, and press it into a tiger stripe pattern. Then, they seal it with a lacquer infused with a fine powder of glass flakes.
So the shimmering particles appear suspended beneath the surface. It adds an incredible sense of depth.
And they still have a real, physical clock. The new timepiece is inspired by precision aviation instruments, cast metal hands, absolute legibility. They even put the spirit of ecstasy inside the cabin now, in a little illuminated clock cabinet vitrine. It's proper old-world craftsmanship.
But with hyper-modern execution. Look at the illuminated fascia artwork on the dashboard. It uses 8,108 individual pixel-like illuminations that flow across the surface, inspired by the mist over the South Downs near Goodwood. The integration of light as a physical material is a hallmark of this Series 2.
Let's step outside the cabin and look at the exterior. They haven't messed with the fastback profile, which is good, because it's a stunning shape. But the new wheels, 23-inch forged alloys.
A highly faceted, multi-spoke treatment. The forging process uses exceptionally sharp 2.5mm rad-2, which gives the metal a diamond-like definition. And each wheel is hand-finished for up to 6 hours just to achieve the polishing.
6 hours, polishing a single wheel. My entire restoration of the BMW 2002 T2 engine block took less time than they spend rubbing a rag on these alloys. But my favorite aesthetic upgrade is on the black badge.
The iced black exterior detailing.
Yes, they've taken almost all the bright work. The grille surround, the side frame finishes, the door handles, even the spirit of ecstasy herself, and hit it with a specialized matte clear coat. It looks like a satin stealth bomber finish. But, and this is a crucial design choice, they left the vertical veins of the Pantheon grille completely polished.
It preserves the core identity of the vehicle while completely transforming its attitude. And the black badge also gets a unique open-spoke wheel design to show off the braking hardware, which is available in iced matte black. It's an incredibly imposing footprint.
And who is actually driving these things? We always assume a Rolls-Royce is bought to be parked in an air-conditioned garage and looked at. But the press info from Goodwood says the average annual mileage is around 4,000 miles. which is standard for a Wraith or a Phantom Coupe.
But they highlighted outliers. One European client has put 30,000 miles, or 50,000 kilometers, on their Spectre in just 2 years. That is someone using a Super Coupe as a daily driver.
And then there's my absolute favorite piece of data from this press release. A collector in Los Angeles who uses the Spectre daily. He lives at the top of a massive hill. Every morning, he drives from his house down to his garage at the bottom of the hill, and thanks to the regenerative braking of the electric motors, the car arrives with more range than it started with.
It's a brilliantly unoptimized variable turning into an advantage. Physics at work.
It's free gravity juice, Amber. He's charging his £500,000 luxury car with nothing but the weight of the vehicle and a steep driveway. That is hilarious. But it shows how clients are interacting with the car. One client in Korea built an entire art gallery in their residence just to park the Spectre inside it. Another couple requested a bespoke starlight headliner that perfectly mapped the constellations on the exact night they met.
It's deeply emotional commissioning. They are treating the Spectre not just as transportation, but as a permanent, personalized artifact. Shifting the telemetry from Goodwood to our audience, it's time for the community poll.
Right. Let's see what we're arguing about today.
Every week on our Instagram, led by our helmet mascot, we pose a scenario to you. This week, you have commissioned a Black Badge Spectre Series II. The exterior is iced black. The interior features the duality twill in sage green. You are gliding through the streets of Mayfair in London at 2 a.m. in absolute pressurized silence. Infinity mode is engaged. What 1970s cassette tape is resting in the center console?
If you are in a matte black, 3-ton British monolith at 2 a.m., looking like a Bond villain who just successfully bought out the world's supply of lithium, you cannot play anything upbeat. You need something heavy, cynical, and architectural. I'm going with Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine. The synthesized mechanical throb of that track is the exact sonic equivalent of a 1,100 Newton-meter electric drivetrain.
That is a dark choice, Jim, but highly thematic. I, however, am looking at the sheer avant-garde perfection of the interior craft. I'm selecting David Bowie's Station to Station, the title track. It's cold, it's precise, it's incredibly stylish, and it feels completely alien to the traditional rock and roll landscape, just as the Spectre feels alien to the traditional combustion engine. Cast your vote in the comments on Instagram.
Bowie in a Rolls. Acceptable. Let's bring this to a close before you suggest ABBA.
It's time to face the judges. The garage rating. Green light, amber light, or red light? Jim, you first. The Rolls-Royce Spectre Series II.
I am the man who defends the internal combustion engine to my dying breath. But Rolls-Royce is the exception that proves the rule. The pursuit of perfection here is relentless. 25 hours of stitching, real wood, metal dials, a total rejection of the screenification of luxury cars. They embrace the electric motor because it makes the car smoother, heavier, and completely silent, which is exactly what Sir Henry Royce would have wanted. And it looks like a masterpiece. It is an unhesitating green light.
We are on a frightening streak of agreement, Jim. For me, it is also a green light. From a purely telemetry-based perspective, achieving an 18% range increase while maintaining that level of material density is a triumph of software and battery management. It proves that the era of intelligent speed doesn't have to be sterile. It can be incredibly artistic. The Spectre Series II is the gold standard for the electric transition.
I need to go out to the barn and hit my thumb with a hammer just to feel something analog again.
Try to aim for your left thumb. We need you to type The Telegram on Friday.
With 2 fingers on a mechanical typewriter, as always.
That wraps up this episode of The Studio. You can read my full blog post, The Electric Throne, and explore the deep dive specs of the Spectre Series II in our garage archive at theautobrief.news.
And don't forget to subscribe to our Friday newsletter to get all the news that's fit to print, and none of the corporate jargon.
I'm Amber Light. The future is approaching fast. Don't blink.
And I'm Jim Carter. Keep the shiny side up.
Welcome to the Auto Brief News. The future is approaching fast. Don't blink. I'm Amber Light.
And I'm Jim Carter. And apparently, we're talking about a limousine today.
Not just a limousine, Jim. The benchmark, the icon, the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. 140 years of innovation, 2,700 re-engineered components, and a total digital ecosystem.
Digital ecosystem? Sounds like a fancy way of saying, I can't fix it in my barn with a 10mm wrench.
You can't fix a satellite in your barn either, but that doesn't mean you don't use GPS to get there. Look, Jim, this is the S-Class. It's not just a car, it's a masterclass in how a flagship stays relevant. They've updated over 50% of the vehicle. That's not a facelift, that's an evolution.
All right, educate me. What's the first thing I'm going to hate about it?
Well, if you hate status, you'll hate the new illuminated grille. It's 20% larger, features three-dimensional chrome stars, and, for the first time ever, the Mercedes star on the bonnet can be self-illuminated. It's an unmistakable light signature. It's basically the car saying, I have arrived, before it even pulls into the valet.
A glowing star. I remember when the only thing glowing on a car was the exhaust manifold after a hard stint at Le Mans. Fine. It's a status symbol. It's what S-Class buyers want. But what about the drive? Tell me they haven't turned the steering into a video game controller.
Actually, it's the opposite. The engineering is fascinating. They've got the new V8, the M177 Evo, delivering 537 horsepower and 750 Newton-meters of torque. And it's not just raw power. They've used a flat plane crank with a new firing order to reduce mass and vibration. It revs freer, Jim. It's smoother. Doesn't that sound like music to your mechanical ears?
Flat plane crank. Okay, that's a proper bit of hardware. That should give it a sharper throttle response. But let me guess, it's all buried under a mountain of mild hybrid tech and coasting functions.
That's the intelligent part of the drive. It has a 17 kilowatt integrated starter generator. It helps with low RPM torque and makes the start-stop function completely imperceptible. You're sitting at a traffic light in silence, and the moment you touch the pedal, it's instant propulsion. It's the era of intelligent speed, Jim.
I'll admit, the smoothness is a hallmark of the S-Class. I've driven enough of them to know they're meant to glide. And if they've got that airmatic air suspension with the new cloud-based damper regulation.
Yes, it's incredible. It uses car-to-X technology. If another car hits a pothole or a speed bump, that data goes to the Mercedes Intelligent Cloud and updates the suspension of other S-Classes approaching the same spot. The car literally sees the road damage before it happens.
Now that is interesting. It's basically a collective consciousness for road conditions. I don't like the cloud taking over the decision-making, but as a racer, knowing exactly what the surface is doing before my tires hit it, that's an advantage.
Exactly. It's about being informed. And speaking of being informed, the cockpit is the new MBUX Super Screen. 14.4-inch central display, 12.3-inch passenger display, all under one continuous sheet of glass. It's sculptural. It's minimalist. It's everything you don't have in your barn, Jim.
My barn has character. Your super screen sounds like a thumbprint magnet. But does it actually do anything useful? Or is it just for streaming movies while the car drives itself?
It does everything. We're talking about the new MBUX Virtual Assistant. It's based on ChatGPT 4o and Google Gemini. You can talk to it like a friend. It has short-term memory. It remembers you. And it has these avatars, a human-like figure or Little Benz.
A digital avatar named Little Benz? Amber, you're losing me. I want a car that listens to my inputs, not a car that tells me jokes.
But it's an empathetic assistant. It uses dynamic colors, blue when it's calm, green when it says thank you. It's turning the car into an interactive environment. And for the rear passengers, it's a boardroom on wheels. Dual 13.1-inch screens, video conferencing for Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or WebEx. You can take a meeting from the back seat at 130 kilometers per hour on the Autobahn.
My daughter, Sarah, she'd love that. She's always on those calls. She tells me my vintage 911 is an environmental fossil. Maybe if I showed her an S-Class, she'd stop lecturing me on my carbon footprint.
See? Even you can see the utility. It's about productivity. It's about making the S-Class the ultimate personal retreat. They've even added heated seatbelts.
Heated seatbelts? Now that is ridiculous.
It is not. It's innovative thermal comfort. It warms up to 44 degrees Celsius. It's like a gentle embrace on a cold morning. It makes you want to take off your bulky coat, which, by the way, makes the seatbelt fit better and improves safety. It's a safety feature hidden in a comfort feature.
I'll stick to my Barracuda jacket, thanks. But I see what they're doing. They're solving first-world problems with high-end tech.
That is the S-Class in a nutshell. And let's not forget the protection. If you're a head of state or just someone who needs a little more security, there's the S680 Guard 4 Matic. It's certified VR10. That's the highest civilian protection level.
That's a tank, then.
It's a limousine with the soul of a bunker. It handles the weight beautifully because the chassis and transmission are custom adapted. And it still has all the digital luxury. It's the only way to be completely safe while having a video conference with your board of directors.
So, it's fast, it's smart, it's safer than a Volt, and it's arguably the most technologically advanced car on the planet.
Exactly. It's the definition of welcome home.
I still miss the engine noise. I still think you should be the one operating the steering wheel, not the MB Drive Assist Pro. But if I had to cross a continent, and I had to do it without spilling a drop of coffee, I suppose I wouldn't pick a 1974 Ford Escort.
I'll take that as a win, Jim.
Don't push it. Next week, we're back to the classics. I'm bringing in a carburetor, and you're going to help me clean it. No tablets, no AI, just grit.
Deal, but I'm filming it for the paddock.
Keep the shiny side up, everyone.